Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel all about cross stitching. My name is Rosanna and I go by Bright and Dusty here on YouTube and on Instagram. I am back for Flosstube number 24 and I am doing it now because I have several Christmas and July things to show, including a couple of finishes, and we're getting towards the end of July, so I just wanted to make sure that I got this video done before that's over. So like I said, I have some finishes. I have a new Startalong to talk about. I have some WIPs, and then towards the end of the video I have like a giveaway to go over and a few save the stitches. So I hope you will stick around to see all those things. So yeah, like I said, Christmas in July. I was looking forward to Christmas in July for like 2 months. So I did do quite a bit of Christmas stitching. So why don't I get into showing you my FFOs. I have 3 FFOs and 2 of them are Christmas. So here is the first one. This pattern is called Girl at the Winter Window by My Brave Stitch, which is an Etsy shop and also an Instagram page. I will link her Etsy below. But here is my finish. So the last time you saw this in my WIP Parade, I was working on this side. I was getting close to a finish, but I just went ahead and did it, and then I FFO'd it into a hoop finish. And I'm very pleased with the way this came out. And yeah, this was a perfect size hoop. I just pulled it randomly from stash. I have a lot of hoops, and this was just so easy to finish it, get it up on the wall. I do plan to do more of her designs in the future, and she has quite a few that are circles. And I just had a great experience with this. It was really fun to stitch, and it was very easy to just FFO it. So I stitched this on an 18 count Aida, and I changed her hair color. Other than that, it's as charted, and it's gorgeous. My Brave Stitch came out with a bunch of seasonal wreaths. There's like one for every season. They're so pretty. I'm thinking of maybe starting the autumn one. We'll see. And then she has also like a few landscape type things. There's one, it's called like Afternoon at the Cafe or something like that. And that one I would really like to start. But once again, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this project, and I can't wait to start another one. So that was my first FFO for Christmas in July. And here's the second one. So I think it's been a while since you've seen this because it was already finished by the time I did my WIP Parade a few weeks ago, so I didn't show it in the WIP Parade. Yeah, the last time you saw this, I don't think I had the trees done. It's been a while. So this design is called Stitching Christmas, and it is by Twin Peak Primitives. I stitch it on a 32 count opalescent linen called Crystal Da Vinci by Picture This Plus. And this is just DMC. It's 2 strands. I added these little charms myself. This is just a tiny spool, and this is tiny scissors. In the original pattern, there's like a stitched scissors and a stitched like tomato pincushion in these spots, but I just happened to have these little charms, so I did that instead. And yeah, that's the reason I didn't frame it under glass, because this spool is a little bit too thick. I think if I really want to, I could add some spacers and put the glass back in there. I might do that eventually, because this frame does have enough space, I think, that I could do that. But for right now, this is fine. I just wanted to get it finished. And it's really cute. This is a thrifted frame. However, it was like a custom frame. I learned this from M. Kissa Creations, is if you're at a thrift store and you see a frame that already has a piece of needlework in it or something of that nature, and it's custom framed, then it probably already has a piece of foam board inside that's cut to size, which was true of this frame. So I'm really, really happy with this. I just used that piece of foam that was already in there, and it worked out no problem. All right, so that was Stitching Christmas. That fabric is gorgeous. I would highly recommend that fabric. I'm definitely going to use it again for something because it's so beautiful. Now I have my third FFO. This is the biggest one, and it's not Christmas. This is Gathering Eggs by Mirabilia from the April 1998 issue of Cross Stitch and Needlework magazine, or you could buy it as a standalone pattern. It is out of print. But here is my finish. So the last time you saw this, it was finished, it just wasn't framed. So I did find this thrifted frame. I think it coordinates really well. And it was a really good size. It's not perfect, the margins are not equal, but that's okay with me. I don't really care. I just think, you know, for a thrifted frame, this looks great. So I stitched this for the Gathering Eggs SAL, hosted by Red Stitchery. And that SAL was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Katie, for hosting that. And I'm thrilled to have this finished and in the frame and up on the wall. It is my first ever Mirabilia finish. So those are all of my FFOs. And now I guess I'll get into WIPs. I did a fair amount of stitching in the past month, so I'll go through them pretty quickly. But here's Graveyard Guardian by Sprouting Lupine. So this one I pulled out during the Midsummer Stitch virtual retreat hosted by Lindy Stitches. That was last weekend, and Sprouting Lupine was one of the featured designers. So I decided I wanted to work on this for part of the weekend. So that's what I did, and I made some pretty good progress. I got that whole display up there with the monuments done. Yeah, I don't think this fabric is available anymore, but it is by Seraphim Fabrics, and I'm sure they have similar ones. It's a 28 opalescent Lugana. Okay, I paused for a sec to go grab a board, but I'm back. This next one is Plum Street Samplers, The Gather Inn. Looks like this. I know you've seen this many times. I have made a little bit of progress since my WIP Parade because I have been working on filling in the roof. So this is an 18 count rustic Aida. I'm just using 2 strands of DMC and I love how it's looking. I'm just working on filling in, and I will be working on filling in for quite a long time, but this is what I work on like in the evenings when I'm watching TV, because I don't have to concentrate on a pattern. So I'm loving this. Yeah, 2 strands on an 18 count. It's just, I love the look of this. It's gonna look awesome. Okay, this is the one I started for the Paula Vaughan along. Okay, I found the book. It's from the Quilts for All Seasons book by Paula Vaughan. And I am working on November. So this is the hashtag Paula Vaughan along, hosted by Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe and Jen from Jen's Fiberweb. So I am in the quilt. I started in the quilt area. So you can see this is like the bottom of the quilt. This is one of those, the start of one of those leaf, maple leaf shapes. And I've been having a lot of fun with this. It took me a little bit of time to get used to the pattern, but now I'm used to it and it's going faster. And I'm just stitching this on, it's a 32 count cotton polyester blend that I believe has been discontinued. It's like, it's fashioned to look like linen. And I'm enjoying it. I'm not having any issues with it. I think it looks good. So what else was I gonna say about this? Yeah, I have an iPad now. So for a lot of my paper patterns, I've started taking photos of them and importing them into my iPad. And it's very easy to just mark off stitches with my finger. Believe it or not, I hadn't really been doing that prior to this because I didn't have an easy like program to make that work. But now that I have the iPad, that is like going a lot better. And I wish I had gotten it earlier. But that's one of the ones I've been doing that, just like crossing off with my finger And yeah, it's going well. So I like that that one is fall, because I think, you know, September, October, I'll be inclined to work on that a lot more. All right, why don't I do the Garden Hummingbird. This is a Bucilla Heirloom Collection kit. This is a very complicated kit. I am working on this for the Whip into Shape challenge that Andrew, the runner stitcher, came up with. It's where we are stitching along with him as he trains for the Sydney Marathon in Australia, which he will be doing at the end of August, which is just incredible. And I did fall behind. Like, I fell behind back in early June, and then I was like trying to catch up. I got pretty close to catching up, and then I fell behind again. Why don't I insert a picture of where I started at the beginning of the challenge, because I think I still have that picture. So that's where I was, and here is where I am now. So as you can see, these two flowers are brand new. And then I also made some progress up in the gazebo. Stitching this on a 32 count Jobelin. It's not the kit fabric. This is looking so beautiful. As these flowers started to take shape, I was just stunned by how gorgeous they look, the shading. The reason they look so good is because there are a ton of quarter stitches. A ton. All over this pattern. They're everywhere. But seriously, that's why it looks the way it does. The people who charted this really knew what they were doing. That being said, it is a complex pattern. It is a challenging pattern. I don't think I would want to have more than one of these going at a time. But to just have the one, I am enjoying it. And I'm getting more used to it. So I still have some catching up to do, but the Whip into Shape challenge has been a lot of fun. I am so happy that I picked this because it has kind of lit a fire under me to make progress on it. Whereas I think it's the sort of thing where I would have like let it languish if I didn't have something like the challenge spurring me on. So yeah, thanks to Andrew the Runner Stitcher for coming up with that challenge. He did speak about in his last video, he like had a little bit of an injury, but I just, you know, best wishes that, you know, it's going to be a swift recovery and that you're feeling better soon. Yes, I actually have a half marathon coming up in August. My training has not been nearly as rigorous as what Andrew is doing, but, you know, I have been more diligent about running on a regular basis so that I am ready for the half marathon. I mean, that's going to be in, I want to say 2 weeks or something, so it's coming up. I recently got my new sneakers so that I could break them in before the big day. So this is my my third year doing it, and it's in my own town, which is great because, you know, I don't have the stress of having to like, get up super early, drive somewhere far away in order to do the race. It's very convenient. It's very close by. And my husband just, he drops me off at the race in the morning. And then when I'm done, he picks me up and we go out to eat to celebrate. So that's really the part that I'm looking forward to is, you know, after the race. But yeah, so that's coming up. All right, next up. Okay, so this is Seaside by Hello from Liz Mathews. So I'm in the bottom area with the fish. And I did make good progress since my WIP Parade. Because during my WIP Parade, all I had was this fish. So yeah, I worked on this for a few days and it's looking fabulous. Yeah, this is a 32 count wishult. I dyed myself and the blue on this turned out really nice. Like when I dye fabric, sometimes I struggle to get the blue the way I want, but this one turned out great. And I'm really happy with this. Yeah, this is the one I was working on also for Stephanie Cross Stitch the Globe, her birthday SAL, because she wanted us to work on anything by Hello from Liz Mathews. So I picked this one. So happy birthday, belated birthday, Stephanie. Yeah. And that is just called for DMC. It's very bright. I love those colors. Just an amazing, amazing pattern. Here is the Extraordinary Birds. This is by Lola Cross Stitch. It is an ongoing stitch along. It will be going until the end of August. I am almost caught up. I do have to finish my peacock up here, but other than that, I'm caught up, even with the back stitching. I love how this is turning out on my fabric color. This is a 32 count MCG Textiles linen that I dye myself. And this is going to look so beautiful when it's finished and up on the wall. I am determined to keep up with it. Hopefully I'm able to maintain that for the next month or so, and then it will be done. So I know you've all seen this many, many times on lots of different channels, so I don't think I have to like show it for very long, but I am happy with how this is turning out. All right, so the Ducklings. This is a Riolis kit. I'm only doing the ducks, and man, I'm almost done. I'm actually done with the stitching, the crosses. I do have to do the back stitching, and I was like, I wanted to finish it before I did this video, but it just wasn't going to happen, and honestly, I needed a break from them. So they're done except for back stitching. Oh, man, my hair is like everywhere. Okay, so I took a lot of liberties with this chart. First of all, I moved this duck down to the bottom, and then I will be the first to admit this background is anarchy. total anarchy. You know, I got to a point where I wanted this to be finished. I wasn't really interested in working on it anymore. So I just started going rogue with the background. I feel like I was just kind of like rage stitching, like just trying to get it done as fast as possible. And as you can see, basically I just chose a bunch of different shades of brown. I was kind of mimicking what the pattern had done around this area. So I just picked all the different shades of brown. Oh wait, I was mimicking this area, I think. And a lot of them are half stitches because I just wanted to outline the ducks so that they would be shown off and then just call it a day. So yeah, this maybe took like 3 or 4 days to fill in that background, but I'm happy it's done. Once the back stitching is finished, I think I'll just turn it into a pillow, put it on my pillow shelf, and that'll be it. Yeah, the reason I got tired of this was the wool acrylic threads. They're not my favorite. And yeah, it was just a lot of ducks, so it got pretty repetitive, but that is the ducklings. And I think this is my last WIP, and then I have a couple new starts, but so this is Christmas Elegance. So this is one that I focused on quite a bit for Christmas in July. I'll put a picture of the last time you saw it, which was months and months ago, because I did have the foresight to take a photo of that before I started stitching this month. So that's where I was, and here's where I am now. So I chose to just get this blue cushion area, get a lot of that filled in. It looks really nice. And this is a 32 count opalescent Lugana in the color Brandywine from Needlework with Jim on Etsy. It is a very intense opalescence. Like, it's almost a little bit too much, but it's working really well for this particular design. Yes, I did change her hair to make it more like strawberry blonde. But this is so fun. I love working on this. I don't know, the pattern just like makes sense to me. It's not too difficult. I'm just kind of skipping over the beads for now, and then I'll come back to them later. But yeah, this, like the blue cushion behind her, I think she's like sitting probably in a carriage, like an old style fancy carriage, because it's outdoors. I think that's what's going on, but it's very beautiful. And I am stitching that with Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. We started it last November for Nora November. That's the end of my WIPs. I did have 2 new starts. Oh dang, I forgot to bring the pattern out for one. It's called Lantern Lane by Little House Needleworks. I'll just pop a picture in. And so I got to start on this during the Midsummer Stitch. All I have so far is a little bit of the greenery. For this one, I did actually buy the called for overdye floss because there weren't that many of them, and I love the look of the model. So I went ahead and bought those. This is a 40 count Affogato linen by Fiber on a Whim. I'm stitching 1/2. And then for this other start, hold on one second. Okay, I had to go grab my other new start, but while I was doing that, I figured I may as well just grab Lantern Lane too to show it. So this is Little House Needleworks Lantern Lane. All right, my other new start needs a little bit of a preamble. So in my flip through video of a few weeks ago, where I was going through like an estate lot I had found, I was showing several patterns by by Black Swan Designs, which you know, those designs are out of print now. So I was showing those in the flip through, and I made this comment. I think my exact words were like, you know, I still haven't found my favorite Black Swan Designs pattern, but I know it's waiting out there for me somewhere. You know, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I think those were my exact words. So later that day, after I had posted the flip through, I was just sort of like, you know, I was thinking about that pattern. And I thought to myself, I haven't Googled it in a while. I haven't, you know, checked to see if it's been up for sale anywhere. I do have an eBay alert for it, but I hadn't just Googled it in a while. So it was later that night, I just took a shot in the dark and Googled it, and I found it. It was posted for sale at Sandra's Stitch Stash, which now I'm going to be like a lifelong fan of that site. This pattern is called Dragons by the Fire. As you can see, it is a Christmas stocking. The dragon is down here, and then there's a fireplace, and all the decor in this room is like medieval castles, stuff like that, you know, things that a dragon would have. So I have been searching for this pattern for over a year. I had first seen it when it popped up on eBay like over a year ago, and I had bid on it, but I lost. And then it had never shown up again since then, as far as I know. So I can't tell you how ecstatic I was that I managed to snag this off of Sandra's Stitch Stash. I think that's the name of the site. And it was very affordable. It was basically just like, you know, what you would pay for a regular pattern. So, Dragons by the Fire, and it was perfect because it was in time for Christmas in July. So I got to start. I'm in the center area where the fireplace is. I did a center start. So you can see that fireplace is starting to take shape with the yellow. So this fabric, I'm not sure exactly what it is. It is a 26 count. That's what the package said. And it feels like a Lugana. It's some kind of even weave. I'm not going to get into the whole story, but I did buy a very large stash of fabric from an estate sale. There was a lot of 26, 28 count, some 32 count. So the nice thing about stitching a Christmas stocking is that it's an opportunity to use some of those 26 count, because you want the stocking to be, you know, fairly large. So like, so as I do more stockings in the future, I'll probably just pull from that stash and use up some of those 26 counts. But this is working out well. Like I said, it feels like an even weave or like a Lugana. It's not really giving me any trouble. And it looks good. So that was the saga of this particular pattern. I love it. It was, you know, it was probably my #1 unicorn chart, and now I have it. I think that brings us to the conclusion of my WIPs and new starts. Okay, I got interrupted there for a second. This video is going to be very patched together, but that's okay. There's a new Startalong I wanted to talk about. So Jacintha from Crafting on the Plains reached out after I had commented on her video about doing a Startalong about moths. So the idea is, you know, you can stitch anything that has a moth in it. This could be a WIP you already have, or you could do a new start. And we're going to start on August 20th, post to Instagram. You can tag me, Bright and Dusty. You can tag Jacintha Crafting on the Plains. And we're going to use the hashtag Mothalong. So what I'm thinking is I do have a WIP, a moth WIP, that I want to get a lot of progress on in September. And then there's also a couple things I would like to start. So the WIP that I have, let's see if I can get this. Sorry, this looks terrible. This is Owl Forest Embroidery Light Sampler. It's kind of hard to see in my iPad here, but like there are a ton of moths in this pattern, and the border is almost all moths because they're like flying around the lamps and everything. So this is one I would like to get, you know, a significant amount of stitches in September. So I'm going to be working on that for the Mothalong. The other ones I want to start. So I noticed that Mama Witch X Stitch on Etsy has quite a few patterns that feature moths. The one that I want to do is called Nature Book. So you can see it's a design with thistles, and there's a book open there where the thistles are kind of growing out of it. And then there's those two moths featured toward the top with the crescent moon. So I already bought that one. And I'm going to start that for the Mothalong. And then the other one, I was kind of thinking, you know, maybe if I get my act together, is this. This is called Mouse Moonlight Meadow. This is actually from the World of Cross Stitching magazine. And it is September 2023. I think. Yes, September 2023. I was able to get it through the Libby app. Still, I mean, this was just like a few days ago. So maybe you might be able to do that through your library. Check it out, World of Cross Stitching magazine. But yeah, this one has a couple of moths. There's like a big moth up there. There's also a dragonfly and a mouse. For this one, I don't think I would stitch the entire background. I think I would just dye a piece of fabric and then stitch the black parts. But I thought this was a really cool one, maybe to start for the moth along. So if you have any moth projects or you're interested in starting one, please feel free to join in. Thank you, Jacinta, for asking me to co-host the moth along. I feel like I've graduated to a new level of Flosstube here, but thanks a lot. So that's part of my plans for the coming month. And it's perfect for fall too. You know, fall's coming up. What better thing to stitch during the fall than some moths? Now, why don't I do my save the stitches? And then I'll do the giveaway. I don't have any haul. I'm gonna save haul. I think I might do another flip through in a few weeks because I still have to go through the rest of that estate sale that I found. People seem to enjoy that last flip through. But let me do a save the stitches. So I have a couple to show. I mean, this one I just found yesterday, so I thought I would toss it into the video here. This is a Prairie Schooler, and I believe it is called the Little Village Sampler, if I'm not mistaken. So I was really excited to find this. I love this style. I have one Prairie Schooler as a WIP. It's a turkey. And then there's a couple others I would like to do. But yeah, I'm gonna hang this up and enjoy it. It's stitched on Aida. And it was framed without glass. And down here it's signed for 1988, it looks like. So this is pretty old, but it's held up really well. It doesn't seem to have any like damage or dust or anything. It looks really good. And this frame is very nice. You know, it's sort of distressed wood. So it's gorgeous. So yeah, this looks like a 14 count Aida to me. So I didn't find these at the same place, but they're kind of the same style, so I thought I'd just show them. They're not framed. This is a it's a Carriage House Samplings designed by Kathy Barrick, and it's called West Winds, I think. So this is also stitched on a 14 count Aida. Yeah, I think this might make a nice project bag. It's very nice stitching. I love the colors. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's called West Winds. Yeah, West Winds. This next one is also loose, unframed. I looked it up. It's from a book called In Times Past by the Vanessa Ann collection. I think the date is 1982. So it's just these really pretty tulips and hearts. Yeah, this looks like a 16 count Aida. It's a Rustico. Really nice. Very nice stitching on this one. So again, this would probably make a nice project bag. They're a little big for pillows. I think this one and the West Winds, I feel like is a little bit too big for pillows. So maybe a project bag. And then I have one more I'm going to show. I found this one a long time ago, but I've never shown it in a video. And this one, the frame definitely needs some attention. I think I might just repaint it or something. I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily want to replace it, but it does need to be painted. But anyway. So this is just so cute. Obviously, the teddy bears are stitching. They have a hoop, they have floss, they have a sewing case. And I love that lamp in the background. And I love how dressed up they are. I looked it up. This is from a Leisure Arts leaflet called The Cross Stitchers, and it's number 2338, if you're curious. But whoever stitched this went all out. They did the metallic threads. You can see like the scissors are metallic. There's a few other spots that are metallic for some sparkle. And this is beautiful stitching. And this is another 14 count Aida. And yeah, unfortunately, like the frame has gotten pretty banged up over the years. So I might just take the needlework out, paint it, and then put it back in. So super cute. All right, I think that brings us to the giveaway. So I have a new giveaway, but first let me just do last call on one that didn't get claimed. So last call on this book, the winner was Sherry E. Coles, 2944. So if that's you, go ahead and email me, brightanddusty@gmail.com. That email will also be down below. Yeah, so if I don't hear back by the next video, I will draw another name for this book. Then I have a few others that I pulled to give away today. So this is a little misleading. It's not a parrot. This is actually 3 Joan Elliott patterns in this leaflet. And I can't really show them to you because it's just the charts. One is a mermaid. One is like a beach scene with a palm tree. And then one is another beach scene with some like girls in bikinis. So, and I did an image search, but you can't really find them because I think this was just like exclusive for Charles Craft. So basically, if you like Joan Elliott, you'll probably like this. And this is just paper, so I can fold it up and send it anywhere. So this is open international or US, and if you're interested in some Joan Elliott, just use numeral 1, the number 1 in your comment. if you would like to put in for this one. These next two are going to be US only. This one is actually a full kit. It's by Imaginating and it's called Let's Believe. It's a Christmas tree. The tree has a lot of biblical references. And it's also like mostly backstitched, it looks like. But it is a full kit. So if you're interested in that, just use the number 2. Number 2 in your comment. US only. And this is a book that I have a duplicate of, so I'm going to give this one away. It's a leisure arts book. It's called Santa Remembered. There's just a lot of Santas in here. You know, it's a cool book. And it's great for, you know, Christmas in July. So that's kind of why I pulled it. So yeah, if you're interested in this book, just use the number 3. Yeah, so a lot of stuff that's just kind of this style, Santas. Use the number 3 and please be in the US for that book. I think I covered all that I wanted to cover today. So please just look out for another flip through video in a few weeks. I'm also going to Pennsylvania pretty soon, so I might find, you know, I tend to have pretty good luck finding some secondhand stuff down there for cross stitch. So, you know, if I can, I'll incorporate that into a flip through video. And yeah, please participate in the moth along, so that we can see all the beautiful cross stitch moths out there. And until the next time, happy stitching. Bye.